I don't want to say I told you so, but I told you so. In big playoff games, Ant-Man is routinely Can't-Man. Anthony Edwards ain't it. Ain't him, because Ant-Man isn't that man, as in the man, when it really and truly matters. But I did tell you so again and again and again last year at this time, in last year's Western Conference Finals featuring Ant-Man. Here we go again, same song, second verse. Overhyped, overrated, very good, but not that man, Can't-Man. And you say, well, he's only 23, soon to be 24, but come on now. He is concluding, I believe tonight, his 5th season in the National Basketball Association. That's 5 years of body of work. That is significant. That is rankable. We're not overreacting, although you overreacted and you overreacted when you crowned him. Look, I'm not a hater. I don't hate Anthony Edwards. I think he's a pretty good young man. I'm just a truth teller. And I'm not nitpicking. I'm just truth spitting. So many in the media, so many fans out there leaped the way Anthony Edwards leaps to the conclusion he got next. He's baby Jordan. He's the next Kobe. I mean, the advertisers leaped to your conclusion along with you to ride the wave, because Anthony Edwards is already in every other sports commercial I see. He's Sprite. He's obviously Adidas. He's even Chipotle. He's everywhere because he's got next. He's got Jordan in him. He could be Kobe. He could, and he can't. Look, I, like everybody else, I saw the talent, but I said before his draft, I don't see that. I don't see what you're seeing. I saw the explosive leaping ability, obviously. It's Jordan-esque. I give you that. It's Kobe-esque. I give you that. I saw the shooting ability. I saw the distance shooting ability. I just haven't seen the performance when it really matters on a consistent basis. I haven't seen the fire and desire. I haven't seen the consistent fire in the belly that burns so hot for Michael Jeffrey Jordan and Kobe Bean Bryant. I'm sorry, I haven't seen that. I haven't seen what I'll call the fourth quarter gene. And quick point before I go on to clutch gene. Is he somewhat limited, Anthony Edwards? Remember, he's only 6 feet 4 inches tall. Jordan was 2 inches taller. Kobe was 3 inches taller. LeBron is 5 inches taller than Anthony Edwards is. Does that somewhat limit him at the highest of levels? Maybe. But this is different from LeBron bleeping James, because I've always given LeBron this. He can be a beast in fourth quarters, but only in the first 6 or 8 minutes of fourth quarters. That's when he can be at his deadliest, at his beastliest. LeBron James. I mean, he can get you 12, 14, maybe 16 in a big stretch if he plays the whole fourth quarter from the start of the quarter to maybe the 3-minute mark. He can get you some points. Greatest scorer in the history of basketball. LeBron's problem is he disappears over the last 3 minutes. He self-destructs over the last 3 minutes of the fourth quarter. And Lord help him if you put the ball in his hands for a last shot, because he was not born with a clutch gene. He's made a few over time. My God, he's played, what is it now, 42 years? Blind squirrel. The point is, that's different than Anthony Edwards, because with Anthony Edwards, he just can't man for entire fourth quarters. I keep hearing, well, he looks tired. He looks tired in a Western Conference playoff game, fourth quarter. He looks tired. Did anybody ever say that Michael Jordan, even on flu game night, looked tired in the fourth quarter? Did anybody ever say that Kobe Bryant looked tired in the fourth quarter? No. I mean, the all-time greats don't get tired in the fourth quarter of big playoff games. You just don't. But it gets so bad for Anthony Edwards through fourth quarters that he just ain't there. Just gone. I don't know. I can give you details. I can walk you through this. So we're not talking about a lack of a clutch gene here. We're talking about the lack of a fourth quarter gene for Anthony Edwards in big playoff games. And now his body of work has grown to substantial proportions. So let's quickly look at his whole playoff record. So just so you think I'm not nitpicking here. So he has been in the playoffs. Way to go, kid. The last 4 years, 4 out of his 5. He's now played in 8 playoff series and is 4-4 in those playoff series. And up to date, up to this moment, his playoff record is 21-20. So he's just 1 game over 500 in playoff games. And in now 9 Western Conference Finals games. That's 9 because they played 5 against Dallas last year and were out in 5. And I believe they're going to be out in 5 tonight, but I'm not including that yet. So we're to 9 Western Conference playoff games. And in those games, if we look at the total picture, he's averaged 24, 8, 7, 3.3 turnovers. That's high, very high. He shot 46% from the floor, 36% from 3, not terrible. Only 72% from the free throw line, which is not good. But let's look harder, because he's lost 7 of those 9 games in the Western Conference Finals. Or I'll give you this, his team has, but he is the man on that team. So in the 7 losses, he's averaged only 22.9 points, 8, 6, 3 turnovers. But in the 7 losses, Anthony Edwards has shot 31.4% from 3. That's 16 of 51 in 7 Western Conference playoff losses. I got to tell you, that is horrendously bad, considering this is the young man who this regular season in the NBA led the entire league in attempts and makes, and shot 40% during the regular season from 3. Well, that's extraordinary. That's first team All-NBA kind of stuff. 40% from 3 while you're taking and making the most. That'll work. But now in your 7 Western Conference Finals losses, you've plummeted from 40% all the way down to 31.4%. That's just awful. Now let's quickly look at what happened last year against the Dallas Mavericks, then led by, of course, Luka and Kyrie. Would you believe that the Minnesota Timberwolves at home last year in the Western Conference Finals lost games 1 and 2, had home court advantage, and immediately lost all of it, lost 1 and 2, as Anthony Edwards shot a combined in those two games 11 of 33 from the floor? Well, that's just horrible. That's camp, man. So remember game 1? Anthony Edwards had a 3-point shot, good open look with 2:31 left in that game to put his team up 4 points. I have to believe if he made it and just detonated the arena, that they got a really good chance of winning that game. If not, that would be a done deal. But he missed it. And then he faded down the stretch because he didn't take another shot, didn't register on the play-by-play after that, didn't do anything. As he is wont to do in fourth quarters, he just drifted and disappeared. And they lost that game 108-105 as Luka and Kyrie took over. Then game 2, this is do or die now at home because you got to win one of these, right? Game 2, the tone setter, Anthony Edwards, goes 5 of 17. And do you remember this? With 12 seconds left, they're up 2 with 12 seconds left. Anthony Edwards just threw the ball out of bounds. I don't know. He just got a little overwhelmed by the pressure. I don't know. It was a horrible pass where you're saying, what was that? Who are you throwing it to? He just threw the ball out of bounds. Then Luka hit the big 3 over Gobert with 3 seconds left, but they had one last shot. And that play was called for Naz Reid, 6th man of the year, because Naz Reid in the game had, to that point, hit 7 of 8 threes. So I don't have a huge problem with it, except if you're Jordan, if you're Kobe, heck, if you're LeBron, you're just saying, give me the damn ball. You're just, I don't care about the 6th man. I want the basketball, and I'm going to shoot the basketball. And Naz Reid took the shot and did, as you know, miss the shot. 109-108 Dallas Mavericks. They're up 2-0 going home for game 3. Game 3 was 116-107 Dallas. It was tied 87 all, though, going to the fourth quarter. And remember, that was the one where Anthony Edwards had to leave the game for a while and go up the tunnel in Dallas to get some oxygen because he had hyperventilated. He was feeling so much pressure that he needed oxygen in the fourth quarter. This is the guy who's in every other commercial. This is baby Jordan next Kobe. What? The next day I'm saying, what? Don't give me what? And that was that. He had a very quiet fourth quarter, scored 4 points while Kyrie scored 14 points. Dallas pulled away to win the fourth quarter 29-20 in the game by 9. Then game 4 was his one. He always has the one good game, and he played pretty well in that game. I remember this stand-up interview that he did on the court after the game. He said, well, I finally figured out how to win. I finally figured out how to play a fourth quarter. And he played pretty well. He scored 6 points in the fourth, 3 of 7 shots, didn't take a 3 or get to the free throw line. But he was the 3rd leading scorer in that fourth quarter because Karl Anthony Towns had 10. Remember, he was a T-Wolf. And Rudy Gobert had 8, so he was at 6, the 3rd leading scorer, but he set more of a energetic, focused tone. But then game 5 is back Minnesota. became the closeout game. It was 124-103 Dallas. It was 35-19 after the first quarter. It was over in a hurry because no tone was set by Baby Jordan next Kobe. No tone set. His numbers were okay. He scored 28, had 9 and 6, but they were all inconsequential because he didn't set a fire in eyes tone the way he's capable of setting from the start. Which now brings me around to this season. Game I watched back in February at Oklahoma City. I think it was February 9th. Oklahoma City was up 24 early in the fourth quarter, and Chris Finch said, I have seen enough of Anthony Edwards, and he yanked him. And he sat him on the bench as Terrence Shannon, who has played very well, obviously, in this Western Conference Finals, and the other co-rookie, Rob Dillingham, came in and started leading the way. And they scratched and clawed all the way back from 24 down to tie the game and send it into overtime in Oklahoma City against the best team. And Anthony Edwards stayed on the bench the whole way. Even when they got close, you would think, well, you're going to put him back in. Nope. Chris Finch said, I've seen enough. He sits. Overtime started, no Ant-Man on the floor until there was 1:40 left in overtime. Game's still close, and he finally put him back in. And he did have a nice block of a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander basket attack near the end of the game. It was actually a game-saving block, but he didn't score at all in the fourth quarter, at all in overtime, just for the record. And I was shocked by that. Then game one in the previous round this year against Golden State, previous round of the playoffs. Remember that? At home. Again, they've got home court over Steph and Jimmy and company. Golden State won that game 99-88. Steph played only 13 minutes because he pulled his hamstring and was gone for the rest of the playoffs, as you know. He scored 13 points in 13 minutes, but they lost 99-88 as Anthony Edwards shot 9 of 22, 1 of 5 from 3. And in the fourth quarter, he scored 1 point. 1 point. And Chris Finch actually blasted his superstar after the game. He blasted him. Here's the quote. It starts with Ant. I thought he struggled, and then you just kind of see the light go out for a little bit. Really? He goes on to say, Chris Finch, you're the leader of the team. You've got to come out and set the tone. If your shot isn't going, you still have to carry the energy. Yes, you do. No, he did not. This is Ant-Man. Every other commercial. Baby Jordan, next Kobe. No. So here we went again, another Western Conference Finals for young Anthony Edwards. Game one at Oklahoma City. It was 114-88 Thunder. Anthony Edwards went 5 of 13, 3 of 8 from 3, but he was a minus 23. And after the game, pardon my language, but I need to quote it because of what happened after he said it. He said to the media, I only took 13 fucking shots. That cost him $50,000, which made him in the hole $430,000 in fines just this season, just for this season. I saw a young man who plays frustrated, who gets tired, who gets mentally worn out from the escalating pressure on him. I don't completely condemn him for this. In fact, I don't blame him at all because he's tried to make it clear he's a reluctant superstar. He doesn't want this pressure. He's not built for this pressure. As he says, he does not want to be the face of the league. He told, I think it was TNT, back around All-Star break about being the face of the league. He said, I'm capable of being that guy, but I don't want to be that guy. I want to be the guy who just shows up and hoops and just kills dudes and goes home. Okay, gotcha. Understand. But the world is saying you're the face because you got next. And you're saying, please leave me alone. This is driving me crazy. I'm losing it, man. I'm getting mad at referees, not getting calls. I'm getting fined. I'm getting this. I'm getting that. $430,000 in the hole because I'm not comfortable. I'm just not in any kind of comfort zone because I ain't that. And I don't want to be that. Okay, so game 2, he played better. He scored 32, but they lost 118 to 103 because he went 1 of 9 from 3 in game 2. 1 of 9, he was a minus 22. So in the 2 games in Oklahoma City, minus 23, minus 22. Game worst, team worst. Then game 3, kaboom. He took a lot of heat from the media, both locally and nationally. Where are you, Ant-Man? Earth to Ant-Man, APB for Ant-Man. And he rose and he shone. Remember that first quarter? He came out with fire in eyes, fire in belly, just breathing fire all over the Thunder. I loved it. Not for my Thunder. I'm a Thunder fan from Oklahoma City, but I loved it for him because it hurts me to watch him go through the agony of trying to live up to everybody's overhype that he doesn't want. But in that first quarter, he lived up. He gave you 16, 5, and 2 in the first quarter. He made 3 threes in the first quarter. And what did I say after the game? Right after the game, posted a video saying, I believe that will just be an indictment of Anthony Edwards. That it will serve as an indictment because you'll say, well, where were you all those other games? And where are you going forward? Indictment. Because game 4, still in Ant-Man's house. He's the guy. He's got to set the tone. Didn't set the tone. It was, are we there yet? It was, I gave you a flash. I gave you all I had. I gave you a quarter, man. Isn't that enough? No, that's not enough, Ant-Man. So in game 4 at home, this is do or die. You're facing going down 3-1 to the best team. Anthony Edwards in game 4 at Minnesota scored 16 with only 4 rebounds and 6 assists and 5 turnovers and went 1 of 7 from 3. And I kept hearing during the game, or at least I heard once or twice, he just looks tired in the fourth quarter. I don't know, man. It was a great game to watch, but did not feature the quote-unquote superstar Anthony Edwards because it was all about, as Shaq calls them, the others. Every time I looked up, one of the others was making another big shot. Alexander Walker in particular, cousin of SGA. Every time I looked up, he was making another 3. Jaden McDaniels making another 3. Everybody played great except for the greatest. And in the fourth quarter, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander just kept making shots. And Jalen Williams, all-star, second-team all-defense this year, just kept making big shots, bigger and bigger shots. And it felt like they finally just broke the will of the home team. 128-126 Thunder. Then I saw a clip from First Take, Kendrick Perkins was on First Take, the question that was being asked, did we crown Ant-Man too soon? Well, duh. But Kendrick said, in defense of Anthony Edwards, you got to check all the boxes when you're the face of the league. And he mentioned Larry Bird, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Shaq, LeBron, Steph. They were all married with kids. You've got to be a role model, said Kendrick. Okay, there's a little bit of truth to that. But the irony of the statement is that if you really know about these guys, either publicly or a lot privately, you know they're not the greatest role models. Really, none of them are the greatest role models. That includes LeBron and Steph. You know what happened to Kobe, obviously, in Colorado. But they were all married with kids. I give you that. And yet, even though there are a few grains of truth in the league needs the face to be an upstanding citizen, Anthony Edwards has been an upstanding citizen. I don't know of anything he's done terribly wrong. He did have that one post that featured a gay slur. That was bad. But in general, he hasn't broken any laws that I'm aware of, hasn't had any police blotter incidents that I'm aware of, does have a daughter, I guess is not married to the woman. I'm not sure what that situation is, but they did have a daughter together a year or so ago. Brings her to the games. But the point is, the larger point is that Kendrick, and I love Perk, but the point is he's not living up on the court to being the face of the league, and he's told you he doesn't want to be the face of the league. So that's all that really matters here right now, is the league did try to make him the face of the league. Madison Avenue did try to made him the face of the league. And he's just not backing it up when it matters most in back-to-back Western Conference finals. He's not backing it up on the court. That's all that really matters. So he did shoot 40% from the floor from three in the regular season. Again, led in attempts, led in makes. Tremendous. Way to go. But in 3 losses now to the Oklahoma City Thunder, he's 5 of 24 from 3, which is 20.8%. Think about that. In the 3 biggest games of the year, the ones that mattered the most, he's 5 of 24 from 3. Wow. So in the 4 games against Oklahoma City, he's only 31.3% from 3. So he is stinking it up from 3, which is what he does best. And by the way, he did have a career best from the free throw line during this regular season, 84%. That'll work. That's what Jordan was career, 84%. Against Oklahoma City, he's 18 of 26, so that's only 69.2%. So when it matters most from the free throw line, when his team needs him the most, because he is supposed to be the man, the tone setter, the table setter, he has been abominable from 3 and the free throw line. That sounds like LeBron James to me. And if you look harder, this was amusing to me. If you look harder at MVP, SGA versus Ant-Man, look what happened in game 3. Ant came out and had that sensational first quarter, the indictment quarter. what happened, it shocked me, and I think it shocked Shai Gilgeous-Alexander that he got booed every time he touched the ball in Minnesota. Well, it's not like he's done anything to the Timberwolves to incite their fandom. He hasn't given the choke sign to their fandom or done any or said anything that I'm aware of that would make them boo him every time he touches the ball, except that he usurped the one who got crowned, that it was supposed to be Anthony Edwards MVP, and they're booing Shai because he won MVP, not because he did anything to Minnesota, except he beat them and beat them and beat them some more. But so they're booing him, and I think it actually shook Shai a little bit. I think his energy was off early. He didn't set the tone. That was the 42-point blowout. But Shai sucked it up and said, okay, I know what I have to do. Watch this. And he throws a 40 burger at those fans in game 4. He scored 40. He had a lot of help from Jalen Williams and from Chet Holmgren, but he went for 40 because he figured out how to rise above the distraction and the pressure of getting booed every time he touched the ball. So now we've seen these two play 8 games against each other this season, 4-4, regular, post. And in those 8 games, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has averaged 33, 6, and 8. He shot 47% from the floor and 42% from 3 in those 8 games. And he's a plus 37. Anthony Edwards has averaged 10 points fewer, 23 a game, 33 down to 23. He has averaged 9 rebounds, which is great, and 6 assists, which is very good. But he's only 43% from the floor and 31% from 3 in 8 games, 4 regular, 4 post. 31% from 3, only 73% from the free throw line, not good. And he's a minus 23. So the man in Oklahoma City is plus 37 in those 8 to minus 23 for Anthony Edwards. He is getting outplayed consistently by SGA, who has won 7 of 8 games because SGA 7 out of 8 times has outplayed Ant-Man, Can't-Man. So I'll end with a couple of quick comments that we saw on X about this subject and situation. And I like both of these very much. This is from @Kyrell Buckley, who says, Ant-Man is a great young player, but people don't understand the gap between a player like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who averages 32, shooting 52% from the field, and a player like Ant, who shoots 44, 45% from the field. It's a different level. It's a different level of consistency, but to know this, you have to actually understand basketball at a high level. I agree. Shai is a much better basketball player, especially under fire, than Ant-Man. But Shai isn't nearly as dazzling, as exciting, as box office as Ant-Man can be with those Jordan-esque, Kobe-esque dunks. Shai is not a dunker. Nobody attacks the basket more than he does. He led the whole league in basket attacks, but he ends up finishing softly with great touch off the glass from all sorts of angles. He has become, I know Kevin Durant is still going and still a factor, but to me, Shai has become the best mid-range jump shooter in the game. He's just automatic. Nobody can get to a spot the way Shai can get to his spot and just go up over any defender and just softly can shot after shot after shot under pressure. Not a huge three-point shooter, but he continues to improve to Shai. He just doesn't take and make nearly as many as Ant-Man did during the regular season.